の時間なのだ。この動画は英語に少しでも慣れたい音や心地よい声でぐっすり眠りたい音にぴったりなのだ。ヘッドホンやイヤホンを使うともっとリラックスできるかもしれないのだ。でもね、寝る準備ができたらそのまま聞いてリラックスしてほしいのだ。聞きながら眠っちゃっても全然大丈夫なのだ。それじゃあ一緒にリラックスした時間を楽しむのだ。ではでは始めるのだ。
The Lost Kingdom of Eldoria. Tom and Lucy were known in their village as the two who loved adventures. They had explored forests, climbed hills, and even solved old mysteries. But nothing could have prepared them for the greatest adventure of their lives. One day, while cleaning the attic of Lucy's grandparents' house, they discovered an old, leather-bound book. The cover was worn, and the title was barely readable: The Secrets of Eldoria. "What's Eldoria?" asked Tom, brushing dust off the book. Lucy opened it carefully. Inside were maps, drawings, and stories of a lost kingdom. According to the book, Eldoria was a place of beauty and magic, hidden for centuries. The last page had a strange message. To those brave enough to seek it, follow the path where the sun meets the sea. "This must be a clue," said Lucy, her eyes shining with excitement. Tom nodded. "But where do we start?" Lucy looked at the map in the book. It showed a coastline and a path leading inland to a mountain. The sun meets the sea. It must mean sunset. Let's go to the beach this evening and see if we can find anything. That evening, they packed their bags with food, water, a flashlight, and the book. They reached the beach just as the sun was setting. The orange and pink sky reflected on the water, creating a magical view. As they looked around, Lucy noticed something unusual: a small stone archway half hidden by rocks. "Over there," she said, pointing. They walked to the archway and found an inscription on the stone. "Step through and follow the golden path." Tom hesitated. "Do you think it's safe?" Lucy nodded with determination. "It's the only clue we have. Let's do it." They stepped through the archway and felt a sudden change. The air was cooler, and the sounds of the beach disappeared. In front of them was a narrow path covered with golden sand. It glowed faintly in the dim light, leading into a dense forest. "This must be the golden path," said Lucy, gripping the book tightly. "Let's see where it goes." They followed the path, which twisted and turned through the forest. The trees were taller than any they had ever seen, and their branches formed a canopy that blocked out the sky. Strange flowers with glowing petals lined the path, and they could hear the distant sound of flowing water. After walking for an hour, they came to a clearing. In the center was a large stone tablet with more writing to enter Eldoria. "You must prove your worth. Complete the 3 challenges, and the kingdom shall be revealed." "Challenges?" said Tom, raising an eyebrow. "What kind of challenges?" Lucy pointed to 3 stone pillars nearby. Each had a symbol on top: a flame, a tree, and a star. "I think we have to choose one," she said. They decided to start with the pillar of the flame. As they approached, the air around them grew warmer, and the ground beneath their feet turned to ash. A voice echoed from nowhere. "To pass this trial, find the light within the darkness." Before they could react, the ground gave way, and they found themselves in a dark cavern. The only light came from a small torch on the wall. "What now?" asked Tom, his voice echoing. Lucy looked around and spotted a series of symbols carved into the walls. Some were glowing faintly, while others were dark. "Maybe we need to light them up," she said. Tom took the torch and began touching it to the dark symbols. One by one, they began to glow, forming a pattern. When the last symbol lit up, the cavern filled with golden light, and the voice spoke again. "You have found the light within the darkness. The first challenge is complete." They were suddenly back in the clearing, standing in front of the stone tablet. "That was amazing," said Lucy. "Let's try the next one." They moved to the pillar of the tree. This time, the air smelled fresh, and the ground was covered in soft moss. The voice returned. "To pass this trial, restore life to what is broken." In front of them was a dry, cracked tree. Its branches were bare, and its roots were tangled. Nearby was a small stream, but the water wasn't reaching the tree. "We need to get the water to the tree," said Lucy, examining the stream. "But how?" Tom spotted some large leaves and hollow sticks nearby. "We can make a channel," he said. They worked together, using the sticks to create a path for the water and the leaves to guide it toward the tree's roots. As the first drops of water reached the tree, it began to change. The cracks healed, the branches grew leaves, and soon it stood tall and green. "You have restored life to what is broken," said the voice. "The second challenge is complete." They were back in the clearing again, now feeling more confident. "Only one more to go," said Tom. The final pillar, the star, shimmered faintly as they approached. The voice spoke once more. "To pass this trial, see what others cannot." They found themselves on a high hill under a starry sky. In the distance, they saw a strange glowing symbol on the ground, but it was far away. Between them and the symbol was a maze of tall hedges. "How are we supposed to get there?" asked Tom. Lucy thought for a moment. "The stars," she said, pointing up. "Maybe they're the key." She opened the book and flipped through the pages. One page showed a star map with lines connecting the constellations. "This matches the maze," she said, comparing the map to the sky. "If we follow the pattern of the stars, we'll find the way." Using the star map, they navigated the maze, turning left and right as the constellations guided them. After what felt like hours, they reached the glowing symbol. As they stepped onto it, the ground shook, and a staircase appeared, leading downward. They followed the staircase and found themselves in a grand hall. Golden walls glittered, and a massive door stood at the far end. Above it was a sign, "Welcome to Eldoria." "We did it," whispered Lucy. They pushed open the door and stepped into a breathtaking landscape. Eldoria was more beautiful than they had imagined. Rolling hills, sparkling rivers, and a golden castle stood in the distance. Strange but friendly creatures roamed freely, and the air seemed to hum with magic. As they explored, they found a group of people who welcomed them warmly. "You are the first to find Eldoria in over 100 years," said an elder. "This kingdom is a place of peace and wonder, hidden to protect it from harm. Now, you are its guardians." Tom and Lucy spent the day exploring Eldoria, marveling at its wonders. When it was time to leave, The elder handed them a small crystal. This will guide you back whenever you wish to return. As they paddled back to their village, they looked at the crystal, which glowed softly in Lucy's hand. They knew this was only the beginning of their connection to the lost kingdom of Eldoria. The quest for the Crystal Cavern. Tom and Lucy loved exploring new places, but this time their adventure would take them farther than ever before. One sunny morning, while helping clean the attic of the town hall, they found an old map hidden in a dusty chest. The map was labeled "The Path to the Crystal Cavern." "What's the Crystal Cavern?" asked Lucy, holding the map carefully. Tom shrugged. "I've never heard of it. But it sounds amazing." The map showed a winding path through the mountains, across a river, and into a forest. At the center of the forest was a red X. Next to it were the words, "The greatest treasures await those who dare." "We have to find this place," said Lucy, her eyes shining with excitement. Tom nodded. "Let's pack our things and get started." Chapter 1: The Journey Begins. The next morning, they set off early. Lucy carried a backpack with food, water, and the map. Tom had a compass and a flashlight. The first part of their journey took them through rolling hills covered in wildflowers. The air was fresh, and birds sang in the trees. After walking for hours, they reached the base of the mountains. The path was steep and rocky, but they climbed carefully, helping each other over difficult spots. When they reached the top, they were rewarded with a breathtaking view. The forest stretched out before them, and in the distance, they could see the glimmer of a river. "This is amazing," said Lucy, taking out the map. "The river is our next stop." They began their descent, which was even harder than the climb. Loose rocks slipped under their feet, and the wind was strong. But by sunset, they reached the river bank. The water was crystal clear, and they could see fish swimming below the surface. "Let's camp here for the night," said Tom. They built a small fire and ate sandwiches while watching the stars. "Do you think the treasure is real?" asked Lucy. Tom shrugged. "I don't know. But even if it's not, this adventure is worth it." Chapter 2: The River Crossing. The next morning, they faced their first big challenge crossing the river. The map showed a bridge, but when they found it, the bridge was old and broken. Some of the wooden planks were missing, and others looked ready to fall. "Do you think it's safe?" asked Lucy. Tom tested one of the planks. It held his weight, but it creaked loudly. "We'll have to go one at a time and be very careful." Lucy went first, stepping slowly and holding onto the rope rails. Halfway across, one of the planks cracked, and she gasped. But she kept her balance and made it to the other side. Tom followed, his heart pounding with every step. When he reached the middle, a plank broke under his foot. He grabbed the ropes just in time and pulled himself up. "That was close," he said, breathing hard. Once they were both safely across, they sat down to rest. "That was scary," said Lucy. "But we made it." Chapter 3: The Forest of Shadows. The forest was unlike anything they had ever seen. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches forming a dark canopy overhead. Strange plants grew on the forest floor, and the air was cool and damp. "This place feels different," said Lucy, looking around. Tom nodded. "It's like something out of a storybook." They followed the path marked on the map, but it became harder to see as the forest grew darker. Suddenly, they heard a rustling sound. "What was that?" whispered Lucy. Tom shone his flashlight in the direction of the sound, and they saw a small animal dart into the bushes. "Just a rabbit," he said, laughing nervously. As they walked deeper into the forest, they came to a fork in the path. The map didn't show which way to go. "What now?" asked Lucy. Tom looked at the two paths. One was wide and clear, while the other was narrow and overgrown. "The narrow one looks more like an adventure," he said with a grin. They chose the narrow path, pushing aside branches and stepping over roots. After a while, they saw something shining on the ground. It was a small crystal, glowing faintly in the dim light. "This must be a sign," said Lucy, picking it up. Chapter 4: The Guardian's Challenge. The crystal led them to a clearing where a large stone statue stood. It was shaped like a lion, with glowing eyes and a fierce expression. As they approached, the statue began to move. "Who dares enter the crystal cavern?" it roared. Tom and Lucy froze. "We're just explorers," said Tom, trying to keep his voice steady. The lion statue studied them. "To pass, you must answer my riddle. If you fail, you must turn back." Lucy stepped forward. "We'll try," she said bravely. The lion nodded and spoke the riddle. "I am not alive, but I can grow. I do not have lungs, but I need air. What am I?" Tom and Lucy looked at each other, thinking hard. Finally, Lucy said, "A fire." The lion's eyes glowed brighter. "You are correct. You may proceed." The ground shook, and a hidden staircase appeared beneath the statue. Tom and Lucy descended into the darkness, their hearts racing. Chapter 5: The Crystal Cavern. At the bottom of the stairs, they entered a massive cavern. The walls sparkled with crystals of every color, and a glowing lake filled the center. It was the most beautiful place they had ever seen. "Wow," whispered Lucy. "This is incredible." They walked toward the lake and saw a pedestal in the middle. On it was a large crystal, shining like a star. As they approached, a voice echoed through the cavern. "You have reached the heart of the crystal cavern. This treasure is yours to keep, but only if you promise to use it wisely." Tom and Lucy looked at each other. "We promise," they said together. The crystal lifted into the air and floated toward them. When Lucy touched it, she felt a warm energy flow through her. "It's amazing," she said, smiling. Chapter 6: The Journey Home. Carrying the crystal, they made their way back through the forest. The path seemed easier now, as if the forest was guiding them. When they reached the river, they found a new, sturdy bridge waiting for them. "This is magic," said Tom, amazed. By the time they returned to the village, the sun was setting. They decided to share their story with the villagers, who were amazed by the glowing crystal. "You've found something truly special," said the village elder. "This crystal will bring light and hope to our village." Tom and Lucy felt proud of their adventure and knew it was something they would never forget. From that day on, they were known as the heroes of the Crystal Cavern.